In Admag, that dilapidated cliffside tower had been restored by the weird out-of-towners. The stone golem looked on from the roof of her barracks, well aware that the mysterious masked Scheck was something to do with this new business. For now though, all this business did was produce a white-haired human from time to time, who would jog into town and purchase sandwiches from the local shop. Whatever happened to those work hands that the red-faced old one had recruited, the locals wondered.
I ain't never seen such a useless bunch of nodes and limbs in my entire life, and I saw the pieces of shit who fucked up this life-forsaken planet in the first place,
Rick was shouting at them. Deltas of sweat streaked down their scaly faces. They were all tired of the ceaseless training their new boss was putting them through, but they knew what would happen if they stopped.
You get fit, or you get the stick,
Rick reminded them for the 1000th time. The stick twirled in his hands, or was his entire hand twirling?
When you accidentally volunteered to be conscripted into the Chocolate Legion, you did it because you were the best of the best of the Drunk at Dawn Club, and I'd be remiss if I were to let you out there into the world without a real military education. War is serious shit. It's about getting down and dirty and sucking it up when things get hard, at least according to this ancient picture book. It's also about showering. It's mostly showering, actually. Hey, she's got a stick as well, and she's getting creative. What the? Old man Watson, you ever heard of a reverse kebab? Damn, we gotta get showers invented again.
Meanwhile, at Manx Canyon, "That'll do it," Elena said, emerging from under the chocolate processor. "You had the gurning jocket on upside down. Surprised it didn't just catch fire like that." "Oh no, that's never happened," Izumi said, eyeing the artistic flower of black soot running up the wall.
"I'm done making the pile,"
Els called from outside. He'd made a very nice pile of corpses out of the latest wave of Reaver attackers. He was taking his recent demotion to corpse carrier very seriously. "She's a beaut," Jazz remarked from the wall. "Just about covers your fucking stink, mate. Loving it."
"Thank you, strange lady."
"Jazz, would you mind watching your language?" Izumi said with her head around the door of the chocolate factory. "What the fuck? Says you? Are you fucking gaslighting me right now? Why don't you watch your fucking language, you smarmy tart?" "Jazz, it's the young ears among us." "Oh right, Elena can't hear us swear, but she can stab the dusties like any old jogger, huh?" "What?" "Yeah, that's what I thought." "Oh, what did she think? Whatever." This pleasant homely life, with all its confusing smells and reassuring violence, was destined to come to an end soon. One morning, Nuke gathered everyone at the gate and took a look over the dozen Scheck he'd recruited for the Legion. They were kitted out in the gear the local bandits kindly dropped outside the walls each day as they travelled very rapidly away on the points of speeding harpoons. The cannons had kept everyone inside the compound perfectly safe, save for poor one-leg Ignacio, who'd lost an arm in the ongoing wars as well. "Today we march in a campaign that will go down in history," Nuke declared. "We will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them on the hills, and in the swamps, although it really shouldn't come to that, let's be honest. Yes, we will fight those horrible mountain goats to the very end." Nuke was distracted by Izumi whispering something in his ear. I'm being told it's actually skin spiders we're fighting." "What? I don't remember that. I don't know, I was blazed when I came up with this whole thing." "And so will all of you loyal deserters be when we win, which will be, I don't know, after we walk there. So get hyped for that. A bottle of premium hydration medium to the first one to kill one of those 8-legged freaks." "Wait, I'm being told they're not actually spiders. What the fuck are we actually doing here?" "Oh, whatever. Deploy the troops and let's just see what happens. Onwards!" Onward they went, marching to the other side of the known world, which luckily was only about 3 days away. They used the nighttime recess to dodge the good old apocalypse laser, and arrived again at that lonely wasteland bar they'd stopped off at on their initial journey. This was the place where Nuke had gifted the local bandits a free sample of brown. Seemed like sound marketing at the time. Now, the Chocolate Legion was face to face with the Chocolate Horde.
Brown man! Brown man! Gives that jockey!
A scruffy vagrant called from outside the bar. First hit's free, second hit's double price. You know the rules, Nuke shouted back.
Rules were made to be broken.
Yeah? What if the rule was that you always had to break the rules?
Gives that jockey! Bread bandits, get 'em!
From behind every tree, rock and withered cactus, more scrawny, salivating wasters appeared. Izayah, want to try them out? Nuke asked. Izayah nodded, placed Choco safely on his shoulder, and raised his sword.
Chocolate Legion, form up!
The legionaries gathered around him.
Chocolate Legion, stand ready!
Izayah called. Each Scheck produced a handful of choco bread and held it carefully in front of their mouths.
Consume, Brown!
At this order, they scoffed it down in a single bite. Suddenly they were quivering with energy, and rumour has it some of their horns were even wriggling back and forth.
By the left, kill everyone!
Izayah ordered, and the battle cry that followed echoed across the wastes like the birthing of a great vengeful deity. The Legion was outnumbered 2, perhaps 3 to 1, but that meant nothing when the brown mist clouded their eyes and bandits fell like stalks of sweet, sweet cocoa. It was truly a sight to behold. Everyone beheld it so hard they almost missed the fact that a beak thing had come over to see what all the fuss was about, and was currently walking off with Gustafsson in its mouth. This was resolved swiftly, bringing the military action to a close. Incredible. We've got this, man, Nuke remarked to Izayah.
I do hope so. There is just one thing I feel is a bit off.
Yeah, we need to do like a special pose after each win.
No, I was going to say, it's the name. I rather think this Chocolate Legion doesn't strike fear into one's heart.
Fine, call them Choco Rockers, Whitehorn and the Shek Supremes. The Fantabulous.
No, Prince Tashino, I was thinking something a little more traditional.
Yeah? Well, what does Scheck normally call stuff like this?
The soldiers are known as the 100 Guardians. Each one aims to be a match for 100 foes, like old Kral, you see.
Then, my man, I hope you enjoy commanding your new army, the 1,000 Guardians.
Oh, well, that'll do.
And so, the Chocolate Legion was disbanded, and the 1,000 Guardians were born. The 1,000, by the way, was later taken to refer not to their worth in regular soldiers, but the number of calories per mouthful in their secret combat stimulants. After another day and a half of slogging, this army was peering at the towering cliffs of Admag. Izayah closed his faceplate and took the lead. As the gang clattered through the streets, all were whispering of the mysterious masked Scheck.
They say he's from a strange land with unclear zoning regulations,
one rumour went.
They say he's 3 inches taller in the morning than at night,
another claimed. They say that truth is stranger than fiction, but when it comes to Scheck, both are just as dull. The force reached the restored tower and reunited with the caretakers within. Red Rick presented his group of recruits to the 1,000 Guardians.
I worked it out, man. You gotta hit 'em just right to activate all those old Enforcer genes. Makes all the fighting we bred into 'em come back clear as the last sober morning, you know? Oh, you don't know? Oh yeah, that's a secret. Nope, I don't know where Scheck come from, but I'm sure glad they're here now. Enjoy 'em, folks.
Genes? Didn't I read something about genes? Izumi mused.
They're like your two-way leg tubes there, but kinda rough and shitty. That's all there is to it. Not that I remember. There's gotta be a way to turn down the volume on this voice,
Rick said. Regrettably, fielding this army had left the guild nearly bankrupt, and so the truth of the matter was out of anyone's price range. It was time to start remedying that situation. Nuke stashed a load of the brown bread in their new depot and gave the rest to Izayah. Remember, point at the dog and tell them it'll get sad if they don't buy it, Nuke advised.
What? She'll get sad? Then that settles it. I'm selling it all right now,
Izayah declared, rushing out to the town. Choco enjoyed the ride on his shoulder, and everyone who witnessed it nodded knowingly, smugly muttering something to the effect of, "I knew he had a brown dog." It was beyond their wildest dreams. Within an hour, Izayah had sold out and the local bars were full of raging brown addicts. Mission accomplished. But the real mission, and indeed the real money, was yet to be handled. That evening, the Grand Expeditionary Force was assembled at the city gate. Nuke and his companions numbered a dozen or so, the 1,000 Guardians the same again, and another dozen of Nuke's hired troops bolstered them further. This gathering force had attracted a crowd of onlookers. Izayah stood on Bobby and Claw's shoulders, with Choco still on his own shoulders of course, and addressed the locals.
People of Admag, I was once told I could never return to this city, the place of my birth. So I wandered far and wide. In the far distant Great Desert, I met this prince of the Empire, Nuke-Tashino, a flatskin. He showed me what it means to live free, and what marvelous things can be achieved when those from all corners cooperate. He gave me the strength to return here, but I do not break the terms of my exile lightly. I am here as the masked Scheck for the last time. I will return as the victorious slayer of the Bog Master, a worthy warrior of this great kingdom, or I will never return again. That I promise.
As Izayah was lowered, the crowd chanted,
In the image of Kral he walks, with the honor of Kral he shall die.
Izayah put his head in his hands and gave a long sigh. You okay, man? Nuke asked.
Better by the moment, Prince Tashino. Thank you for giving me a day like this, a day I hardly deserve.
Man, just wait till we get back with the bug molder. We're gonna paint this town white. Izayah nodded, pulled his sword from the ground, and pointed out at the distant Mountain of Death, glinting orange in the evening light.
1,000 Guardians, follow me,
he called, and the procession began, watched in austere silence by the townsfolk. They used the oncoming fall of night to safely cross the spider plains under cover of darkness. At midnight they reached Last Stand, where final preparations were made. And by that I mean they drank the bar dry. This seems kinda serious, Nuke, Prince. Is this really okay? Izumi said. Yeah, sure, we'll do it, Nuke shrugged. What if something happens? Dunno. If you die, you won't need to worry about it, will you? Nuke! Sorry, yeah, I know. But seriously, I'll make it work. I'll keep you out of the mess. You're the one pulling me into this mess, actually. Uh-huh. Pulling, or are you just gripping on to me? Nuke, I really hate you, you know? Yeah. I hate you too.
Forget the speaker volume. Gotta find a way to turn off these microphones,
Rick remarked.
At least they said something. Well, the opposite of what they're meant to be saying. But hey, opposite's pretty close, right? Boolean value's better than null. What? Oh yeah, y'all ain't got these binary brains. Don't mind me.
Rick went unminded, but meanwhile Els was attracting attention. A few of the old Scheck who had been in the bar before recognized him.
Chubba, there he is again. How many times you gonna come up here and run away, traitor?
One asked.
I just didn't want to go up there on my own,
Els said.
My friends are gonna win, and I'm gonna help. If I did that, I'd have beaten you, wouldn't I?
Numbers dilute the honor, chubba. And these flatskins here, they soil it entirely, fool.
Oh, fug off, Crinkles, Nuke interjected. Numbers and friends were what your bloody Kral didn't have, and he got iced like everyone else. Even if we weren't going to get high as the bloody eye, we'd still win. Haven't you read the classics? Tomoda Ichi, the power of friendship. I might be a flat skin, but if we look out for each other, it'll tip the scales in our favour. Huh? Scales? Like, whatever, uncultured gaijin. This proved to be a great time to set off, so they left that last mote of safety and set foot on the blackened mountainside. Sandor took them via an easier route up the eastern slope, where the hills were long and shallow, both up to the crater's edge and down into it. The upward journey was quiet, with not a spider nor a Scheck in sight. Not that they could see far, with it being the early hours of the morning. It might seem irresponsible, but the plan was to get a full day of light to conduct their grand battle once they reached the Bugmaster's Citadel. The fighting would start far earlier than that, though. They walked along the top of the crater to its southwest corner, where Sandor pointed out a quick way up towards the ridge leading to their quarry. To get there, they had to descend towards a red river down a slope patrolled by the skin spiders. With a running charge, they quickly cut a path all the way down to the water's edge. "Ah, see, it's easy," Nuke remarked.
"Should have kept your hooting down. The Bugmaster will know we're coming," Sandor said.
Indeed, the sounds of battle had echoed around the crater's many crags and valleys, travelling who knows how far. There was no time to waste. Unfortunately, they had to swim across a stretch of river to get to the foot of the Bugmaster's home ridge.
"Oh, cannot."
"I will remain here," Gustafsson said. "Why? Come on," Nuke replied.
"It is the wrong colour."
"Not this again. Right, up you go." Nuke had Gustafsson sit on his back while he paddled across. Luckily, the hiver weighed very little, and Nuke was a strong swimmer after his days in Manx Sand frolicking in the lake just up the westward canyon. Oh, there was frolicking all right. I'll tell you about it sometime. Rick was the first to cross, and the only one who didn't swim. He was rather heavy, you see, but waterproof handily enough.
Imagine being full of air, the indignity,
he commented as he waited for the slow-swimming Scheck to gradually struggle to the western bank. From said bank it was a short climb up to that loamy ridge, which in turn led right to the Bugmaster's gates. Strangely, all was quiet. The Citadel and the route up to it looked completely deserted. The only sign of life was a twitching Second Empire iron spider, which had clearly been recently thrashed to pieces by its modern biological counterparts.
"My prince, don't you think this is a little suspicious?" Wodgton said.
"Yes, my man. Is this even the right place?" Nuke replied. Sandor pointed up at the Citadel, which had the word bugs painted on the side in blood. For such a short word, it was stunning how poorly it had been spelled. "They're not even bugs," Izumi huffed.
"We might have caught him napping. Narco's blessings, perhaps," Izayah suggested.
"Whatever the case, we need to play it cool and—" Nuke began. However, with a sudden cry, some of his hired goons ran off towards the tower.
"The legendary treasure! It's so close!"
one called. It was true that the Scheck all firmly believed the Bugmaster to possess indescribable riches, and with the coast looking clear, it was hard for a sellsword to resist.
"Fool, leave them," Gustafsson said.
"No man left behind," Nuke declared, and with this, a great charge upon the Citadel began. They reached its foot, and ascended a winding concrete ramp to reach the upper levels. A few skin spiders were milling about towards the top, and really did seem rather taken aback to be suddenly assaulted of a misty morn. To the extent that a wild, flailing mess of skin and spikes can be interpreted to be taken aback, that is. A handful were cut down, and a half-dozen more met the crew at the entrance to the main dome at the ramp's summit. They had some friends too, small maroon crawlers that scuttled about between the invaders' legs.
"Blood spiders! Don't let them skewer you!"
Izayah called. That didn't sound very nice, and so special care was taken. Soon the ground floor was cleared of hostiles. There was a ramp that led up to a higher chamber, And there, sitting in a golden bathtub, was a man with rippling muscles, a jawline that could cut steel, and voluminous, slicked-back hair. The crew gathered around him, but he paid them no attention. Everyone wanted to say something about the fact that the bath was filled not with water, but with human teeth. But you know, in the moment, the right reaction to that just didn't spring to mind. Excuse me, is the Bugmaster in? Nuke eventually asked him. Yup. I don't do flatskins though, the man replied. Oh, well, would you mind if we killed you? Ah, no, sorry, I've got things to do, ain't I? Can't go dying. Haven't died in centuries, you know. Centuries? You look, it's the teeth. Teeth is the thing, eh?
Oi! Where's the treasure?
One of the sellswords shouted. The Bugmaster stood, teeth chattering down his body. He was wearing something on his lower half, to the relief of some and the disappointment of others. He held out a handful of pearly, used-to-be whites. Priceless, he remarked, taking great pleasure in letting the teeth slide between his fingers and fall back into the bath. Well, I mean, we've got things to do as well, so can we? Nuke said. Give us a flash. Oh, sure, check these babies out. Nuke gave the wide man an equally wide grin. After inspecting it, the Bugmaster reached into the bath and pulled out a long, gleaming blade. Alright, he said, suddenly slashing out and commencing a fight. The Bugmaster was a rather beefy customer. He was as strong as a Scheck, but much faster, and if his own claims to longevity were to be believed, his rippling abs attracted the glares of a curious folk who were a few hundred years too young for him. Even with these distractions though, the twin blades of Nuke and Izayah were nothing to be trifled with. Everyone else who approached was smashed away, but these two held their ground, parrying and feinting, ducking and sweeping, stabbing and cutting with everything they had. Cheered on by the rest, their energy was unending, while the Bugmaster gradually slowed. Finally, the point of Nuke's sword crossed the Bugmaster's chest. As the Hulk stumbled, Izayah body-slammed his back and floored the giant, at which point everyone was on him like a swarm of actual bugs, tying him up like actual spiders. It was done. Or was it? In the madness of the fight, a ring had slipped from the Bugmaster's finger. Afterwards, as everyone looked around the strangely empty Citadel, Rick had stepped on it.
Oh, did I drop this? Looks like it fits in here,
he said, slotting the ring into a perfectly sized gap in his arm. It hummed and span around a moment, then a little door slid closed over it. There was a spine-crawling series of rattly shrieks coming from far and wide outside. What the fuck was that? Izumi said.
Oh, probably nothing,
Rick explained.
Ain't gonna be anything to do with the mind control device. I mean, how would I even be able to control them if I wasn't there when we... Oh wait, in fact, I think I'll roll this back to my earlier assessment. It's probably nothing. Everyone get your weapons ready and stuff, but it's nothing. Yep, knew I should have downloaded the manual for this shit.
It wasn't clear what Rick meant, of course, but we now know that the long and short of it was going to be much harder to get out of the Bogmaster's lair than into it. The real battle was about to begin.